I was counting the last 12 steps from the elevator to my door, balancing lukewarm pho and a laptop bag, when a woman in a navy blazer looked up from my welcome mat and smiled like I belonged to her. Ms. Vale final walkthrough before tomorrow's closing. My key froze in the air. Behind her, a couple in matching loafers stood in my living room. An appraiser was measuring my windows. My front door was propped open with one of my cookbooks. The smell of someone else's cologne floated through my home. Close, what I heard myself say. Second mortgage, the blazer woman chirped, tapping a clipboard. Your mother said you'd be out late. I stepped around her, past the stray tape measure, past the stranger holding my framed photo of Grandma June at my graduation. My heart hammered. This was my condo. My tiny, carefully built piece of peace. Everyone out, I said. My voice came out low and steady. Now. The couple blinked. The appraiser mumbled about tight schedules. The blazer woman tried a soothing smile. I reached for my phone. Security, I told the concierge when he picked up. Unit 1508, unauthorized entry. I don't know what you do in the moment your life tilts. I made a decision I didn't know I had in me. Protect the space, then find the truth. Because when I discovered who was behind this and why, I would never look at my family the same way again. My name is Nora Vale. I'm 31. Forensic accountant by trade. Responsible by default. The one who remembers birthdays and brings chargers to parties. I color code my files, I label my spices, I have 5 thriving plants and 1 stubborn fiddle leaf that hates me. None of that mattered, seeing my safe pulled an inch from its usual line in the closet carpet. I checked the bedroom first. My drawers were ajar. A lipstick print stained a water glass on my desk. My file box sat open on the bedspread, tabs bent where someone impatient had rifled through. A yellow sticky note clung to the lid. Tessa Credit Union, 2 p.m. Not my handwriting. Nina, the concierge and a guard hovered at the doorway. We cleared them. It's Nora, I corrected gently, because it always is. Thank you. They took reports. I locked the door, I pressed my back against it and slid down until my knees met tile. The FIO leaked into the takeout bag. Somewhere in the building, a neighbor laughed. Normal sounds, wrong scene. On the kitchen island, my island, sat a thick red folder. I flipped it open with 2 fingers. Vale Wellness Holdings, LLC. Pages of glossy renderings. A med spa lobby with gold fixtures. Staff uniforms designed like airline suits. My name stamped under Chief Financial Officer. Another page, Guarantor Nora Elise Vale. The signature below it was almost mine. My first and last name right. The loop in my E wrong, too high. The version Mom uses when she practices calligraphy during the holidays. 3 weeks earlier, she'd asked for a selfie with your driver's license smiling over pot roast. Just for that reunion slideshow, sweetie? I thought it odd and then, like always, let it go. Breadcrumbs I had ignored clicked into a row. The mailbox jam last month. The lost bank statement. The afternoon Dad borrowed my spare key to water the plants because I was on a week-long audit in Phoenix. The faint cloud of her perfume in my hall 2 days after I got back. The credit card pre-approval with a spending limit that made no sense. I'd rationalized every one. The sticky note trembled in my hand. Tessa Credit Union, 2 p.m. I typed the number from the paperwork into my phone and hit call. Coastal Trust Credit Union, this is Tessa. Hi Tessa, this is Nora Vale. I just found documents with my name on a loan I didn't agree to. A pause. Key clicks. Ms. Vale, you e-signed 2 hours ago. I was at work 2 hours ago. Your mother Celeste said you were in a meeting but gave verbal confirmation. We have a power of... No, you don't. My mouth went dry. You do not have power of anything. I heard Tessa inhale. Let me freeze this file. Can you come tomorrow with ID? Yes, first thing. I hung up, my phone immediately lit with a text from Mom. Celeste? Don't panic, honey. It's all handled. Ryan needs a start. Family helps family. Ryan. My brother. 27. Charming to strangers. Allergic to consequences. He could sweet-talk refunds from airlines and borrow tools forever. If there was a shortcut, he'd paved it with my patience. He'd been working on a business plan for a year. He also knew my passcode once because I let him use my iPad when his broke. The worst part, I had expected something like this. Not this scale, not my home, but the shape of it. I'd felt it coming in the small ways and hoped I was wrong. My phone rang again. Dad. We're proud of you, he boomed, skipping hello. I pictured his salesman smile, the one that sold lemons as vintage. Big day for the Vales. Your brother's finally getting his shot. You're doing the responsible thing. He always said that like it was a compliment and a leash. I didn't sign, I said. Sure you did. Celeste said she handled it. We'll celebrate Sunday. I'll grill. The old ache lit in my chest. The one that started at 12 when Ryan broke a window and I apologized for both of us. The one that learned to stay quiet to keep peace. No, I said, 1 syllable. It tasted new. Silence. Then the sigh. Don't be dramatic, Nora. He needs you. You're stronger. That's how families work. I looked around my violated home. Then our family needs new rules. I hung up. I grabbed a notepad. When panic wants to drive, I let process take the wheel. Freeze credit. Call all 3 bureaus. Order a report. Change locks. Check safe. Scan for hidden cameras because paranoia sometimes saves you. List everything out of place. Breathe. The safe. I spun the dial. Inside passport, birth certificate, Grandma June's wedding ring. The deed folder, a flash drive labeled taxes, all present. But an indentation on the foam traced the shape of my passport as if it had been lifted and laid back down. My grandfather taught me to notice dust lines. The dust line was crisp. Someone had taken it out. Photographed it maybe, put it back. Careful, calculated. The doorbell rang. I peered through the peephole. Jonah, my next-door neighbor, was standing there with a casserole covered in foil and 2 beers clutched in one hand. Jonah is 33, an ER resident who keeps odd hours and waters my plants when I forget. He is also the person who once told off a delivery guy for leaving raw shrimp in the sun outside Unit 1508. Validator if you like labels. You okay? He asked when I opened the door. Strangers were touring my living room for a mortgage I never applied for, I said. So, not really. He nodded like I'd told him I had a rash. He handed me the casserole. Lasagna. Also, I saw Ryan in the hallway at lunch. He was carrying a banker's box. Waved and said, "Big day. Thought you knew." "Thank you," I said, and meant the seeing as much as the pasta. He looked past me. "Want me to change the lock? I've got my kit." "You have a lock kit?" I asked. He shrugged. ER doctor. Landlord with a toolbox. Same skill set, different paperwork. We switched out the deadbolt in 10 minutes. The click of the new lock sliding home sounded like a boundary becoming a door. My best friend Maya FaceTimed while Jonah packed up his tools. Her face filled the screen hair in a messy top knot, eyes sharp. She's my anchor, the one who never lets me gaslight myself. "I told you to freeze your credit last month," she said without hello. Doing it. I opened my laptop. Hold while I stop my life from catching fire. "That line will go on your merch when you tell this story," she said, not joking. "And yes, you are going to tell it. People need to hear it. Can I survive it first? You will. And I'll sit behind you handing you water during the confrontation." Confrontation. She blinked. Nora. I know I said because I did. We hung up so I could call the bureaus. The automated voice confirmed freezes. I filed a police report online for unauthorized entry and attempted fraud, then emailed my building manager for camera footage of the hallway between noon and 3. I scanned the red folder into a PDF and backed it up twice. There is comfort in duplicated evidence. At midnight exhausted, I opened my banking app to set fraud alerts. A red banner pulsed across the top of the screen. New account opened. $75,000 personal line of credit. My stomach dropped through the floor. A notification buzzed after it. Your e-signature was used at 1:54 p.m. I stared at the timestamp. I'd been presenting to a client, then explaining how to spot mismatched vendor payments. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't my life. 3 dots appeared in my family group chat. Mom typing. Celeste. "Don't be mad. We did what we had to do. Your brother deserves support. Nora, support isn't theft." The dots appeared again. Disappeared, appeared, nothing came through. I closed my eyes and pictured Grandma June's ring in my safe. Grandma June, who worked 2 jobs and told me kindness without boundaries isn't kindness. It's a coupon other people use. I opened a blank page in my notes app and titled it Plan. Credit union at 8:30 with ID and Jonah as witness. Lawyer consult, Maya's friend Arjun. File identity theft report with FTC. Email HR for a letter confirming my location at 1:04 p.m. Ask building for footage. Talk to Tessa again. She might be the person who tells me the thing no one else will. My phone buzzed once more, a new voicemail. "Hey, Ms. Vale, it's Tessa." I dug into the file. "There's something you're going to want to see. Call me first thing." I pressed my palm flat on the cool countertop. The condo was silent again. My plants breathed their quiet plant breath. The new lock gleamed. I wasn't a victim. I was an auditor. And starting in the morning, I would audit my own family. Next up, the paper trail that led to a signature I didn't write, and the first crack in the story my parents had told my brother his entire life. Morning brought the kind of sunlight that makes you think everything will be fine. It bounced off my new lock like a promise. I tucked Grandma June's ring in my pocket, grabbed a folder, and knocked on Jonah's door. "You still game to witness?" I asked. He slipped on sneakers and followed me to the elevator with a travel mug and a calm I borrowed. At Coastal Trust, the lobby smelled like copier paper and coffee. Tessa met us near a fern, a crisp blouse under a cardigan, and eyes that said she'd had a night too. "Ms. Vale?" She shook my hand, then Jonah's. "Let's fix what we can." She led us to a small glass room. Closed the door, set a tablet on the table. "First, I froze everything tied to your SSN. Nothing moves without your physical presence. Relief washed my spine fast, then gone. Thank you. She tapped the screen. Second, we log IP addresses for e-sign sessions. This one originated from a residential network in Englewood. Does that mean anything? My parents live in Englewood. She slid a printout across the table, the address, their address, and this she added, pulling up a recording. We require verbal confirmation for large lines of credit. The system flags a voice match to the account holder, but we also record the call. She pressed play. Static. Then my mother's bright voice. Yes, this is Nora Vale, I confirm. My own name fell out of her mouth like it belonged to her. My jaw tightened. Jonah's eyes flicked to mine. Tessa paused the recording. There's more, she said softer. Someone uploaded a selfie with a driver's license for verification. On the screen, my face next to my ID, the background wasn't my condo. A cream wall, a gold-framed landscape painting, a familiar light switch plate. My parents' dining room, the EXIF data in the corner showed a timestamp and geotag defaulted on. I didn't know whether to laugh or scream. Can you reverse this, I asked. We can rescind pending disbursement, she said, with a sworn statement and police report number. We'll also mark the profile with an internal fraud warning. It will make future approvals through us basically impossible without you in person. Do it, I said. Please put it in my record that Celeste Vale is not authorized to speak for me, ever. Tessa nodded. Already did. She took a breath. Look, I shouldn't say this, but you're not the only adult whose parent tries this. It's always framed as love. It isn't, I said. Jonah leaned in. What about the realtor I saw, he asked. Can you flag any lien filing? Tessa typed scanned, then swiveled the monitor. A title search was initiated for your condo yesterday by a firm called Hearth & Home. They requested payoff statements. Nothing recorded yet. Thank you, I said again, and the words felt small next to what she had given me receipts. When we stood to leave, Tessa hesitated. One more thing. She slid a business card across. Arjun Kulkarni Eskra, he helped my cousin when her ex tried to open accounts in her name. He moves fast. Already on my list, I said, but I appreciate the nudge. Outside, the sun seemed too bright for the way my stomach churned. Coffee, Jonah asked. Lawyer first, I said, then caffeine? Arjun's office sat over a bakery that smelled like butter and safety. He welcomed us in rolled sleeves and a direct gaze, the kind of person who makes you feel less alone just by asking better questions. Walk me through the timeline, he said, pen poised. I gave him the hits. The spare key, the pot roast selfie, the walkthrough. Tessa's evidence, the forged loop in my E that still burned my eyes. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he flipped to a fresh page. Here's our plan. 1 identity theft report with the FTC so the law recognizes this as fraud, not a family squabble. 2 police reports citing unauthorized entry and attempted fraud. 3 emergency letter to Hearth & Home to cease any action on title related to you. 4 a notarized affidavit to Coastal Trust rescinding consent. 5 a demand letter to your parents to return all keys, devices, and documents belonging to you. 6 an email to your HOA and building manager putting them on notice. 7 consider a temporary protective order if they keep entering your space. He looked up. I'll draft the letters now. You'll review before we send. Bill me, I said. He smiled. I intend to. He was fast. While he typed, I opened my inbox. 2 new emails waited from the building manager. Footage attached. I clicked. There was Ryan at 12:42 p.m. grinning at the camera, shoulder to shoulder with a man in a navy blazer holding a clipboard. Ryan used a key propped my door with my own cookbook, then waved the blazer man in with a flourish. He looked proud. Click. 1:17 p.m. Mom emerged from the elevator with a tote bag. She glanced both ways like a sitcom thief, then walked straight into my place. Click. 2:03 p.m. The realtor with the blazer woman. He adjusted his tie on my threshold like my home was already property. I stopped the video before I broke my trackpad. Arjun finished the first letter, Reddy said. It was simple and cold, not angry. That made it bite harder. To Celeste and Martin Vale, subject unauthorized activity and demand to cease and desist. A list of the actions they had taken. A list of statutes. A set of demands. A deadline. The line that made me breathe easier. All further communication must be in writing except emergencies. Do not appear at Ms. Vale's residence uninvited. Send, I said. He looked at me over the monitor. You okay? I keep remembering things I said. Little moments I wrote off. Like 7th grade. I stared past him at a plant on the windowsill. Ryan failed a science project. Mom fixed it at midnight. He won the ribbon. When I told the teacher, Mom said telling the truth would embarrass the family. 2 years later, she signed my name on a volunteer sheet so I'd skip track and tutor Ryan instead. She called it teamwork. Arjun's voice was gentle. Nora, people taught you a script. You're writing a new one. My phone buzzed on cue. Maya. Report, she said. Tessa came through. Arjun is a machine. We've got letters out. Good. I'll order celebratory dumplings once you file everything. I laughed and it felt like oxygen. Hey, can you send me your HR contact template? I need a location confirmation. Already in your inbox. The bakery downstairs handled the caffeine. Jonah bought a croissant he insisted I eat in 4 bites. We sat on a bench. People walked dogs. A kid dropped a grape and cried like grapes matter. My phone trilled a chime I didn't recognize. The screen flashed a warning. AirTag found moving with you. My skin went cold. Jonah leaned over. That yours? No. Oh. I tapped through. The map showed my route from home to the credit union to the lawyer to this bench. A dotted line of my morning. A tiny circle pulsed near unknown device. Check your bag, Jonah said, already scanning the ground. I dumped my tote on the bench. Wallet, keys, notebook, the red folder, a makeup bag, a paperback. I zipped open a small side pocket I never use and touched hard plastic. A white disc. A fingernail nick in the paint. I pressed it to my phone. A serial number appeared then, a partial Apple ID email, orwellmail.com. Ryan's custom domain. He had made it freshman year to look important. My stomach turned. Of course, I said. Jonah whistled low, creepy. I held the AirTag like it might bite. He wanted to know if I went to the bank, I said. If I went to a lawyer. If I changed my routine. Or if you left town, Jonah added. I'm not running, I said even as adrenaline begged me to drive until the highway turned into sky. We took the AirTag to Arjun. He photographed it, bagged it like evidence, and added a paragraph to the police report about unlawful tracking. Keep your location off family apps, he warned. And change your phone account password. If their names are on your plan, move yours. I stepped into the hallway to call my carrier. The rep cheerfully told me my account owner, Martin Vale, had added a line last month and enabled family location for convenience. I closed my eyes, opened them, asked for a transfer of ownership to me. The rep hesitated. I asked for a supervisor. 10 minutes later, I had my own account and a password my parents would never guess. By the time I got home, the letters had gone out. Arjun sent me copies. The building manager confirmed he'd noted my file. Tessa emailed that Coastal Trust had rescinded the line and flagged the account. HR sent the location letter with a gray timestamp under my name that felt like armor. I poured water for my plants. The fiddle leaf still hated me. Fair. At 5, Maya showed up with dumplings and a whiteboard. She wrote boundaries at the top in block letters. Then she drew 2 columns. They'll say and you'll say. They'll say we did this out of love, she said, clicking the marker cap open. I'll say love doesn't need my social security number, I answered. They'll say you're overreacting. I'll say I'm reacting appropriately to fraud. They'll say family helps family. I'll say help doesn't require lying. We practiced until the sentences felt like muscle memory and not war. The doorbell rang once. I checked the peephole. No one. A thin envelope lay on the mat. It held a single photo. My passport on a placemat. The placemat I grew up eating on. A text pinged before my throat finished closing. Ryan, don't be dramatic. Weekends are for family. Dad's grilling Sunday. Bring your pen. I stared at the words until they blurred. Maya took my phone read and raised an eyebrow. Add another row, she said, marker ready. They'll say Dad's grilling. I swallowed. I'll say I'm not hungry for manipulation. Better, she said, writing it down. Jonah knocked and stepped in with a toolbox. Installing a chain, he announced. More for your peace of mind than anything. We ate dumplings standing up while he drilled. The chain clicked. Another small sound of control returning. At 9, Arjun called. Heads up, he said. Hearth and Home replied. They're pausing all actions and reviewing their protocols. That's corporate for we didn't expect resistance. Good, I said. Also, he added, voice going careful. Your parents' attorney emailed a reply. He wrote, and I quote, This is a family matter best handled privately. Our clients deny any unlawful intent. He CC'd a pastor. CC'd AA. Maya snored from the couch. Of course he did. Arjun continued. I'll respond in the morning. For now, lock the door. Don't engage. Too late for not engaging, I said. I'm engaged. After I hung up, I stood in the dark kitchen and watched the city throw its neon across my countertops. The AirTag sat in a plastic bag on the island, a small, stupid moon. I remembered another breadcrumb. Sophomore year. I saved tips for my part-time job to buy a laptop. The next day, Ryan borrowed it for a week. It came back a month later with a cracked hinge. Mom said I was selfish for being upset when we all benefit from sharing. Dad said I should be proud to help my brother get on his feet. I learned then that my feet were always expected to be the floor under someone else. Not anymore. I opened my notes app and added a new line under plan. Decide when to confront and on what ground. The answer settled as soon as I wrote the words. Not on their turf, not at a grill with smoke and distractions. In a place where evidence sits flat and words can't be twisted into smoke. I pictured their dining room table, the one with the gold-framed painting, and the placemats. I pictured my red folder, Tessa's printouts, Arjun's letters, the bagged air tag, the hallway footage on a tablet. I pictured Grandma June's ring on my finger when I said what needed to be said. I'm choosing Tuesday, I told the room. Neutral ground, my table. Maya lifted her glass of seltzer. To paper cuts that become swords. Jonah raised his beer. To smoke alarms that go off at the right time. We clinked. The chain on my door gleamed. The city hummed. I slept. Not well, but I slept. In the morning, a calendar invite pinged on my phone. Final signatures 6:00 p.m. Vale residence. Guests Mom, Dad, Ryan Hearth, and home notary. I stared at the blue check marks that meant they expected me. A second later, a new email arrived from Arjun. Subject your choice, your timing, body, I'll be outside if you want me. I typed 3 words back. Come at 6? Because sometimes you walk into the dining room that stole your name and put it back where it belongs. At 5:57, I parked under the maple I used to climb. The house looked the same as always. Brick neat hedges, trimmed wind chime, tinkling a song I knew by heart. Smoke from Dad's grill drifted across the lawn like a baited hook. Arjun texted, I'm here, across the street, your call. Wait for my signal, I replied. I walked up the steps with the red folder under my arm and a knot in my stomach that had a name, Old Training. Mom opened the door with a hug already aimed at my shoulder. I shifted. Her arms found air. You made it, she chirped bright and brittle. Quick signatures than dinner. Ryan marinated the chicken. I stepped past her into the dining room. Same cream wall, same gold landscape, same placemats. The notary sat at the head of the table, a briefcase by her chair, lips pressed thin. Next to her, a man in a navy blazer I recognized from my security footage smoothed his tie. Ryan paced, checking his phone. Dad strode in with a platter. There's my CFO, he boomed. Let's do this. I placed my red folder on the table. Unsnapped it. Laid out the pieces like a surgeon setting instruments Tessa's printouts. Arjun's letters. The bagged air tag. A tablet cued to the hallway video. Before anything I said we watch. I pressed play. Ryan at 12:42 grinning into my camera like it was a mirror. The realtor behind him. Mom at 1:17 tote bag. Glance left, glance right, right into my home. The notary shifted eyes flicking to Ryan. He stared at the floor. Mom tried a laugh that bent in the middle. Oh, for heaven's sake, Nora, we were just... Stop, I said. Quiet. My voice surprised even me. You'll get your turn. I tapped the next file. The audio Tessa provided filled the room. My mother's voice cheerful practiced, yes, this is Nora Vale. I confirm. It ended. The silence had weight. The notary cleared her throat. I'm Teresa, independent notary. Before I witness anything, I need to see everyone's ID and confirm capacity. Her gaze cut to Mom. Ms. Vale, you told me you held a power of attorney. May I see the original? Mom's smile thinned. It's at home. We are at home, I said. She reached into a file and pulled out a paper with my name typed across the top. The font was wrong. The date was wrong. The notary took it, scanned, and shook her head. This is a generic template. It isn't signed by Nora. It isn't notarized. It does not grant you anything. Dad's jaw ticked. We're wasting time. The notary snapped her briefcase shut. We are. I won't witness anything tonight. She stood. The realtor stood too, a swift calculation in his eyes. If Ms. Vale is not signing of her own free will, he said, our firm withdraws. Good evening. They left. The front door thudded. The wind chime tinkled the same sweet lie. Dad turned on me, volume inching up. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I'm making it honest, I said. Ryan slammed a palm on the table. I need this, Nora. You need accountability, I answered. I picked up the plastic bag and set it in front of him. You put a tracker in my bag. He blinked, then scoffed. That's paranoid. It's your Apple ID, I said. You painted the corner and missed a spot. Like always. Color rose in his face. You've always loved catching me, haven't you? Makes you feel big. I've always loved you, I said. That's what made me easy to use. Dad leaned in both hands on the table. We are your parents. We decide what's best. We're protecting your future. You're good with numbers. He's good with people. Family businesses need roles. Prepared lines flooded my brain. Maya's whiteboard, 2 columns, they'll say, you'll say. You're framing theft as care, I said. That isn't protection. It's control. Mom's eyes glossed with instant tears. After everything we've done for you? Mom, I said gentler than I felt. Put the tissue down. You forged my name. It wasn't forging, she snapped, dropping the axe so fast I almost missed the sound. It was smoothing the way. Smoothing uses sandpaper, I said. You use my identity. Ryan threw his hands up. Why is everyone so dramatic? This is a loan. You'll pay it off in what, a year? You like paying things. Dad's mouth curved. You're the responsible one, Nora. That's who you are. My identity is not a tool, I said. And I'm not a role you assign. I texted Arjun now. He walked in a minute later with calm like armor. He greeted my parents with their full names and sat without asking. Good evening. I represent Nora. Dad gave a short laugh. We don't need lawyers to talk to our daughter. You needed her to sign, Arjun said smoothly. Now you need to hear her. He slid copies of his letters across the table, each line a quiet bell. FTC theft report. Police report number. Credit union rescission. Building no entry notice. Demand for keys, deadline, consequences. Dad's hand hovered over the papers, then pulled back as if the text burned. You went to the police, Mom whispered, like that was the sin in a room full of them. Yes, I said, I'm done keeping your secrets. She flinched. Dad recovered. We'll call Pastor Jim. He'll explain you're overreacting. Arjun didn't look up. If Pastor Jim contacts my client about this, we'll add his emails to discovery. Mom's tears returned on cue. Nora, honey. I tilted my head. You taught me to say yes when I meant no. To keep peace at any cost. I used to think that was love. It isn't. It's training. Ryan shoved his chair back. So that's it. You walk away while I drown. You learned to swim in pools you never built, I said. You broke rules and we all learned to call it charm. You are capable of more than shortcuts, but you won't get there if we keep laying down our backs as bridges. He opened his mouth, closed it. For a second, the mask slipped, and I saw the kid who got ribbon he hadn't earned and a script he never had to rewrite. The innocence in this story wasn't grandma or a child, it was the version of my brother who might have existed if we had told him the truth sooner. I took a breath. Keys, I said, holding out a small ceramic bowl. All of them. No one moved. Now, I added quiet. Mom dug into her purse first, eyes averted. A spare key clinked into the bowl. Dad stared me down and dropped two. Ryan rolled his eyes and pulled one from his wallet, then another from a shoe pocket I didn't know existed. The sound of metal on ceramic was louder than it should have been. Phones, Arjun said. Put them face down. Ryan smirked. What, you afraid I'll film? I'm afraid you'll text a story before this one ends, Arjun replied. Dad huffed. What exactly do you want, Nora? For you to stop acting like my life is your asset, I said. For you to stop calling theft love. For you to ask instead of decide. For Ryan to build something that doesn't start with my signature. You can't talk to us like that, Mom said softly. And for a beat there she was, my mother. Tired, scared, looping a script that once kept her safe. I'm talking to you like an adult, I said. You can meet me here or keep shouting from a story I've left. Arjun slid one more document across. Last item, he said. A written agreement that you will not open any accounts, initiate any loans request, any title work, use any tracking devices, or enter Ms. Vale's home without her express written consent. Sign tonight and we keep this civil. Refuse and we proceed. Dad sat back, arms crossed. You wouldn't. I already did, I said. This is your chance to join me. The clock ticked, the wind chime lied, and a dog barked outside. Mom reached for the pen. Dad stopped her. They locked eyes like a story hitting a wall. Ryan broke first. I'll sign. His shaky name hit the line. Mom followed. I never meant to hurt you. Intention doesn't erase impact, I said. Dad signed hard as if punishing the paper. Arjun slid the documents away. You'll get copies. I stood. From now on, email only. No surprise visits. No Sunday ambushes. Mom whispered, Who are you? The same I answered. Just not for your use. Ryan asked, What do I do? Start small. Tell the truth. I left. Outside, Jonah waited in the car, Maya cheering from the passenger seat. My phone buzzed, blocked fraud attempts, more alerts coming in. We turned my kitchen into a war room, sticky notes, laptops, spreadsheets. Fraud everywhere, fake accounts, spoofed emails, burner phones. Aunt Lila sent proof of forged documents. Banks confirmed attempted transfers. By night, we froze every door they'd tried to pry open. Detective Rivera asked if I'd press charges. I said I want it to stop and I want a record. At the precinct, I laid boundaries, no accounts, no lies, no trespassing. They signed. Rivera warned, break this and it's charges. Weeks later, I built Protection's new passport P.O. Box hardware keys. My story became a workshop, protect your name. People filled the room hungry for the same freedom. Family didn't vanish at Bent. Mom sent short emails. Dad mailed reimbursement with a note understood. Ryan sent photos of his first real job. On a quiet night, Aunt Lila handed me my grandmother's old pen. I wrote my name slowly, ink drying into something ordinary, final mine alone. So, let me ask you. If someone else is holding the pen to your life, what's the first line you'll take back?